So we're gonna get started. I'm Gabriel, with my co-editor Andrea Abi-Karam, who's on the call. We are the team who put together this book. We Want It All, an anthology of radical trans poetics. This is our our Canadian launch, featuring our Canadian contributors and friends. I've been joking that it is the Canadian Idol edition of We Want It All. I remember fondly when that was on TV. So I guess the order of the evening. So we're doing this event in partnership with Another Story, which is a fantastic bookstore in Toronto. For those of you who are in fact joining us north of the border, you can order the book, which is currently in stock from their website, which I sent that to my co-editor. Which I am now putting in the chat. So if you don't have a copy and you would like a copy, you can order it from them, and you can support a bookstore during the, I guess, whatever the state of the shutdown is in Ontario. I have not actually traveled home since the pandemic started. So you'll probably have to tell me, but you can support them at this time. Otherwise, let me see. Andrea has just posted the reader order in the chat. We are going to hear from Andrea, from Ching-In Chen, Hazel Avery. I am going to read Liam O'Brien, Listen Chen, Nora Fulton, and Trish Salah. We're really excited to have our wonderful contributors with us tonight. We're really excited for all of you. Andrea, do you have anything you would like to add by way of introduction?
It's been a real joy to see We Want It All over the last couple of months make its way into the hands of friends and lovers and strangers and hopefully new friends. And I love being able to be part of all these events and get to hear all the contributors read. And we're going to keep doing events until everyone who's in the anthology gets to read.
Which is 65 people. So that's ambitious. A couple final notes before we get started. The event is being recorded. So that is like one thing for everyone to know. And then also I would like to acknowledge Bryn Kelly, who is one of the contributors to the anthology, and the 4-year anniversary of her passing was yesterday. So our thoughts right now are very much with everyone who knew and loved her. And you can read her essay, Diving into the Wreck, in the anthology. You can also find her writing variously online. I think that there is a project in the works being led by Morgan M. Page to produce a collected Dear Hussy in memory of Bryn, which I think is really fucking amazing. So hopefully that is sort of news that will be like actualized in the world very soon. And otherwise, I think let's get started. So Andrea, do you want to take us away?
Yes, thank you, Kay. And just want to shout out, the Nightboat staff and interns and friends and designer. And also our dear friend Becca, who made the Zoom room and is protecting us from any potential creepy people. So thank you, Becca. I am going to read my poems that are in the anthology. And this one is, every day it continues to prove to be relevant. To the cop who read my text messages, I still remember your face, white and pink and soft with gray hair. You could be my poetry professor, my sugar daddy, if you held another symbol of power between your thick hands, knuckles throbbing, adrenaline pumping, with the excitement of finally catching me. If you held a book or your cock instead of a baton coming after me. I lust after the moment I can become invisible and plunge a screwdriver into your eyeball, the one on the left that glimpsed me from around the corner of the building whose shade I sprinted under, a screwdriver with a flat head to scrape against the inside of your skull while your left eye watches from a crack in the sidewalk. I have tools too.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Our next reader is Ching-In Chen. Andrea and I are going to read for a little bit shorter, but our contributors are welcome to read for much longer.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you, Andrea and Kay, for gathering this community on the page and in our events and in readings, and for your ambitious goal. And all the other readers, I look forward to hearing your work. Behind the ballroom. Because we agreed no octopus in light, gross butches laugh multicolor, drop green skin at midnight. Wait, because we 23 mushroom clouds, fuzzy white sun to die, all blue hair here, all orange electrical systems aflame, all violet storms at our fingertips. I drove you home to Card Shack, hoped a spiked little girl best pastel would rinse me tidings. I don't want to skim our song dead, all perfectly cold chalk lines. Street blue star take. All orange victims we count, up green stalk, tilt who lost. 40, 37, 29, 66 lucky numbers. Who still remember ranks. Fighter, an aluminum squad, 4 walls, heavy and sedated. When we swell to black, we marooned each other, still filled, disappear and realign grassy ditch. Watching couches, our marching orders shapely and efficient costs, welcome to neighborhood. Loving empty house, our dearly departed drum barbecue and makeshift boombox church, I leave daily for that highway life. Born a string of golden light, I invited my growing mother. I'm gonna read a piece that I've never read out loud, and it's in the Anthology. I used to work in Huntsville, Texas, which is the center of the prison industrial complex in Texas, and a place where the death penalty is implemented for Texas and surrounding states. So this is a poem that was written in response to that. Trying to feel human tomorrow. I never saw a fast-drying pigment, never saw those 7 black hills again. Build an eye cheap behind redacted siren walls. Those stitched rivers drifting in a book. Really a grid builds an eye for a workhorse cheap. I never saw redacted sirens. Never saw the network translate dusty harm. While the network counting smooth. Those flights of highway, each unit count smooth. 7 lanes return to a sea of cement. Walking 7 lanes, what returns never came. A final word across the sea. And I'm just gonna read one last poem, and it's called Household Mutations. After Carmen Agot. To new Baroque bedroom, she said, who wants radioactive suitcase? Who invites one lined with silver teeth? Who mirror white? Wants well carpet scraped from mattress of maps? All routes poured with last tea. All routes spilled from me. All her nights attached to appliance. Dainty shoes, unwrapped ears. Those stains belong to me. All her shoulder leaning, crease my joints. All snaps in cups, shave head to a cut. All bikes and doorways remember. I came to altar, to table without a fight. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ching-In. That was stunning, and it's really cool to hear you read, which this is my first time having the pleasure to do so. We also want to, encourage, if you are a participant, feel free to chime in the chat. Our next reader is Hazel Avery. Hazel, take it away.
Hello, thank you. Hello, everybody. Thanks for reading and putting this on and being here. I'm going to read, the two poems I have in here are from a cycle of sister poems, so I'm going to read a few of those and one that's in here. Sister Grass. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, whoosh. Sisters. Grass makes grass. Grass makes sister. Sister makes sister. Whoosh. Wind makes grass. Look, whoosh. We have to step on her if we step anywhere. Whoosh. If she swish like a sister, she is. Whoosh. We step on sister, swish. Are we sorry? There's a river over there. We want to drink from. Whoosh. Swish. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Are we sorry? Is she sorry for being grass? Is she angry for stomp, stomp, stomp? Are you angry with me, Sister Grass? Swish, whoosh, stomp. We had to stomp, walk somewhere, stomp. Eventually, didn't we? Stomp. Didn't we stomp? Didn't we swish? A grass learns to grow around a footprint, and she must be okay with that, right? When we stomp, are we forgiven stomp for the grass stomp? Maybe. But look at the river over there. So pretty, so pretty, so very pretty. Okay, this one is called City Sister, and it's the companion to Sister City, which is in the book. I'll read that one as well. City Sister. We missed her. We missed her swish of grass, but spurned, she turned flowers to towers, bloomed, boomed into owned homes and sister bones. So watch it, Mr. Mister. I'm a city slicker sister fister now, an oil slicked river misser. I have wishes to kiss and unfinished business to finish wringing wits about. My gritty city sister misses mists and misses fish, but loves quickness, picnics, kissing misses and lists. Sister, kiss the fist that whips a city pretty girly swirly for you. Kiss the wrists that twist your lips to fix the risk you wish for. Kiss the oil slick, kiss the missing swish. Swish, she wishes, swish, she wishes, fish, but pictures of misses and oil slick kisses caressed her breast, arrest her breath, rest her rest from the rest of the mess she risked her wishes wishing for. Forget the wit, forget the wet, water, you were wishing. You're a city sister kissing misses now, not a swishy wishy river sister. So kiss the gritty city sister, sister, she's yours. Okay, I'm gonna give myself a break and not read the other tongue twister first. This one's called Sister Bones. Didn't there used to be more? Sister never taught me how to count, but sometimes I imagine grass and flowers. I know it's silly. You can tell me that it's silly, but sometimes I imagine it anyway. I saw a flower in a window once and it was pretty. How did it get there? Don't you ever wonder about that? One day maybe I can pick a flower with my own hands and tuck it behind my own ear. Or behind your ear, maybe, depending on the day. Doesn't that sound fun? I know it's city straight from here to anywhere, but that flower came from somewhere, right? Can you imagine getting to step in the mud next to a river, barefoot? I wonder if anyone ever has. I tell myself that I'm very pretty, and I mean it. Don't you think so too? Wouldn't it be silly to rub grass on each other's faces? I wonder what she was like, sister. I wonder how many times she rubbed grass on her face. What was it like? I think it would be silly. Someone told me once that there used to be so many grasses here. Yes, right here, under our feet right now. And there was fish and all kinds of flowers, but some of the flowers were sweet, and the river was for me and only for me. Who? It's a secret. Can you imagine? What a silly story. It's a secret. I already told you. Okay, this is my last one, and this is the one that's in the anthology, which I'm so proud to be a part of, and I love everyone who's in it. Sister City. Sister cities suggest a sort of sisterly similarity, as in a correspondent sameness, sistering grasses, cities, fish, and piths, an axis of sisterness, if you wish, which secrets itself in the way a sister seems to see another, distant, showing seams of self-sistering and saying a sister as such, or suggesting that this sister and that one touch. So sisters seeking sameness wish to see a self in someone else. A secret city sister nestled in the grasses, cities subsume and subsist upon. Grasses missing as it is from any sort of citied sisterness, which is more sist than sister, which turns sisters like fish to pitch fits and twist sister wrists, till sisters seek to see self not in distances but missingness. To wit, sister cities, sister city sisters. To city a sister is to seek the piss in the fish, that is, to seek the sticky stench of sisterness and to leave herself where she wish, to twist a nest of sisterness and stick it in the secret stash of grasses sisters smash into the cracks of sister states, to distance the wishing in spite of the missing it, to suppose a distant sister knows the flows of sisterness the same as she, to make it seem to be as if the city spreads in spaces of the sisterless, the emptied scenes of sisters seeming something else, when city sisters know how sister cities sever fish from rivers and sisters from fish, that a city as a sisterness renders other sisters missing optimistically or else useless in their separateness, absent from the cities of sisters, seeing sameness in the distance, but still secretly seeking sweetness. A missing is a kind of kiss, a seeing sisterness without saying sister is. This is to say, city sister seeks same. While the cityless stay secret in their missingness, a sister can't sister what she can't see. Sister, stay. Sister city wishes only witnesses. She says as much. Sister city slyly offers touch, to sip the cups full of sisterness after filling such. Sister, stay. You sister this way. The city sistered you. Only emptiness and sisterless sleep outside the citied sister. Stay, sister. Such sisterless spaces suck the sister from your sister too. The city sister saves your sister's skin from letting secrets in. Stay, sister, stay. Thank you all very much.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Hazel. It's so fun to hear that poem read aloud, wow. And you are an icon for being able to do that. Next up, we have Gabriel. And I saw there was a question about where people's work is being published. So readers, if you want to drop your social media handles and your websites and, you know, all the good stuff in the chat, I think everyone would love that. So, Gabriel, take it away.
Thanks, Andrea. Thank you, Hazel. Oh my God, that was stunning to hear out loud. I'm reminded of how Pindar, the ancient Greek poet, has odes that have no S. So I want to thank you for for giving us the sort of historical overcorrection that we needed and deserved. I'm going to read a handful of poems. Oh my God, don't do that. From an ongoing sonnet cycle about the Warhol superstar Candy Darling. Clink, clink. I could be the subject of an unmethodical sentence, purple, pink, and blue, pastel thoughts in a pastel parking lot, professionalism's distinct warm goo shipped overnight to a craftsperson summit in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Oh, there's a fire. I'll use my CV sonnet. I'll use my job face. A secret document signs fuck off into somebody's telltale sky. Well, good. Grant me an oral grievance history, mediation, whatever. And I forgot to say, whenever you feel like it, I like it. This one is also called Clink, Clink. It seems you have been neglectful, writing new verses to You're the Top while I do 2 or 3 acrobatic things. Your beautiful wife loves me, the midwife, and I'm going to disappear out of your story like something you really need right when you need it. Keys, a pacifier. Then I'll spread a rumor to your friends. Kay Gabriel made out with the dark secret thing she keeps in her desk. Thank you, you'll say, then Campari soda, and awful, isn't it? And nuh-uh. That's my line, I'll say. Oh, shit. This one is called like, comma, like. Credit me so much to intuit. I like it better than Christopher Street, this pursuit of getting booked and high and hotter. Better than a nascent crush, better even than tasting latex. A permissive sniffer I take after the best. If I can't silver screen this case of nerves, I'll scream till estranged from my contract. I'm the sodden ingenue and here's everything I know. Weasel a soundtrack out of your boss. Mime the catastrophe. Bleach out the bed bugs. Don't tell your stepdad. Piss on the landlord and love me alone with my skinny fate. And that one was written with a list of generated words that my boyfriend sent me that I had to include, including Christopher, which was very mean of him. And the final poem is also called, oh, did I freeze? Am I still, oh dear.
You're good. Kay is frozen. Kay, come back.
Am I here again? Where did you guys lose me?
You're back.
Where did I leave off?
You said, "Am I frozen?" And then you weren't. And then you were frozen.
Wow, great! I love it. Okay, okay. Well, you know, fuck this platform, right? That's all I have to say. They sell information to the feds. They sell information to Facebook. They snitch on you if you have a sex party on Zoom, and it fucks up all the time. So that's it. Sorry. This poem is also called like, comma, like, and this is my last one. But this poem's got no parents. Snapped to life, ditched its bildung, and flooded backwards over the border to Canada. It has no appetite, health, or grudges. No sour feelings keep it up at night. No autobiography left to compose of glances, tresses, snap decisions, remarkable and unremarkable men. Water slouching through a bathroom ceiling in a singular home. Candy, a class act when a landscape painter at pop punk court. I'll outlast both and Dexedrine, and I'm not sorry. More like you discover melodrama in the windows of the technically not that rich. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Kay Gabriel. Next up, we have Liam O'Brien.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Good. I just want to take a minute since we're remembering and honoring Bryn Kelly. I can bring the other one too, actually. This is a little piece of something that I admired so much about Bryn, which is that she provided space in her home for trans people to hang out and talk about art and have arguments and
that graphic for Trans Central Station was actually designed by a wonderful queer artist named Amanda, who unfortunately is also no longer with us.
So as we're remembering Bryn, I just really wish that she could be here for this anthology, which is like so much a manifestation of like work she was doing during her life. Okay, so I'm going to read one little one from the anthology. This is called Companion Poetica. Set you down first, acres of frost, then acres of thaw. Then both of us live under law. You came up in a green land, shoulders high over the sea. I had some green men to crow over me. We will set it down and make bread and pay the rent. Neither one of us will be president. No presidents. These three are from a long form project. There's a poem in the anthology that's from the same project of fragmentation, of Victorian domestic literature, or literature that was geared towards housewives around the turn of the century. The first one called Little Room for Vice and Folly. We shall always be very beautiful. One day we dressed in embroidered skirts, fine clothes untrammeled, earth and sand. We could forget and be happy. What a spectacle! Rich silk and lace and flounces and feathers, watch, fan, chains, rings, parasol, necklace, bracelets, laced and mincing along easy. Sheltering, swinging, fond, we were a child forever asking questions. Out on the veranda, a boy, 100, to keep and look, what soft yellow silk. All those by and by, they'll run all over the house. Little room for vice and folly, heart. This one is The Angel, Brother to the Angel. I went down to the open kitchen door. Quickness, life. Those in danger are themselves. I saw a young woman stop a frightened horse. She was with many women, horses, keeping quiet. Grasp hands, increase a horse's quiet. I remember one boy, his apron all in flames, extinguished the room. The room, a little thing in the hollow of the heart. The throat half swallowed, thrusting farther down. I will not depart from him. Too much care. The mouth reminds me I have been in wait. I have noticed parents allowing their children to be terrified or made the victims of cruel jokes to render them obedient. Every danger is something that can be done. The point of danger is the mind, the reins of fear. Imaginary dangers, wicked excitement. He fell in hours, out of the water, near to death. I have heard of accidents not created by human effort. All people have in them the germs of fear, tremor and terror, the angel, brother to the angel. And this is the last one. It's called Rest Lawless. I don't know about all these wonders. Dozens of cheap little husbands, their severance from society, if they set about being companions and friends, making companions for themselves, in the back of the hall, wonderful curiosities. With him, a relief. Great pleasure also to satisfy his growing thoughts. Come in, trust me. Invent and contrive. What a house it would be. A place for such work, a corner of the wood. A place curtained off somewhere. No separate room. A small room, a kitchen, a room with a stove running through it. A boy like a girl, the boy is yours. I remember one day, his new high silk. He had taken the crown. He tried to straighten it, getting ready. Setting the shoes in rows, observing, making buttons, mischief. Believe me, we must never weary. We must build them. Honesty, unselfishness, kindness. Rest lawless, become lawless. Never grow up into citizens. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Liam. Those are exquisite.
So many husbands.
So many, dozens of husbands.
We're all for Kay.
Dozens of husbands and no. I'll take them. Dozens of husbands and no presidents. Take it to heart. Our next reader joining us from Vancouver, I believe, is Ching-In Chen. Listen, take it away.
Thanks, Kay. I'm calling in from Vancouver, the occupied territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations. And I am so excited to be part of this reading. I called into the first one and it was wonderful. And I think the kind of multiplicity present in the anthology is just super exciting. So I'm gonna read one poem from the anthology and then one newer piece that is a little bit rough around the edges, but we're all friends here, so I'll go for it. So I wrote the poems in the anthology, I think pretty much exactly 2 years ago. And they're about prisons because the group I'm part of, Red Braid, had helped start and helped organize a tent city outside of Vancouver called Anita Place, which I think was the longest running autonomous tent city in Canada that I know of. And these poems emerged out of this moment where the state was beginning its onslaught to displace the tent city. So I wanted to write about repression. And I was interested in thinking about dialectics because I encountered Buddhism and Taoism as a teenager and found a way of understanding change in a non-linear fashion so interesting. And then I became a Marxist and thought, okay, there's a little bit of a resonance here. So poetry for me is really useful for thinking about putting different forms of dialectical thinking in conversation with one another. So this is called Intergenerational. In the struggle for truth, a person may disappear. All distances collapsed to the span of a few paces, the inexhaustible walls clearing a path upon which to discard wisdom and set the beloved body aside. What else need I ask from another? The ecstatic hallucinations of death, summoning forth a bedsheet, a shoelace, a plastic bag, a light fixture, a vent, a window bar, or an electrical cord that asks 20 years or 20 minutes, to which the enlightened sees only a shooting star, a clouding of the sight, a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, a bubble, a dream, a lightning's flash, a thundercloud, a flare longing to dissolve back into the smooth darkness of the night sky, or a faded memory of the night sky. Subhuti, if bodhisattvas abide in the notions of a self, a person, a sentient being, or a lifespan, they are not bodhisattvas. After roughing in as required, place fixture in position and use as template to locate and mark flange points on floor. Where does the turnkey hide his human hands? The body draped against the cell, puncturing the sunlit kitchen, the quiet Sunday, the blue Canadian expanse. If I had a job, I would not commit crime. If I had been arrested, I would say I was sorry. If I had a supportive family, I would not kill myself. I always turn up in court. Where the course of self-estrangement transcends self-estrangement, she mounted this pile of firewood and kindled a fire. Their souls ascending in columns of smoke that model the civil sky. Within these walls, I bid farewell to a strong, calm bandit who had never killed. While mantles of ash float along the sills of our ghostly dependents, the myth of permanence stumbling beneath looming walls, crooked shadows, turnkeys, and getaways. This next one has two quotes from two books that I recently started reading. One is Blood in the Water, which is by historian Heather Ann Thompson. It's about the Attica uprising, and it's very, very good. And I highly recommend it. You can skip all the parts that focus on the guards and humanizing the guards and read just about the rebel prisoners. And then it ends with a quote from The Women's Revolution by Judy Cox, which is about the Russian Revolution from the perspective of the women who made that revolution happen. Dig the pond and the moonlight will follow. Smash any surface that reflects only your face. Reach further than conspiracy, because all social life is essentially practical. Because the power that is wrenched from your hands spirals in more than one direction in time until we encounter it anew, as violence altered by its monstrous journey. Because when Dee looks at the marbled red face of the man with the megaphone threatening to burn down the camp, he sees himself. Because the self is irreconcilably split. Because we are the precondition and result of our enemies. Because beneath my loneliness, I am a watermill. Because L swept the empty classroom where we would sleep and eat, while K filled a bucket of water, P drafted a press release, and two others shared a cigarette on the roof, their shapes fading into the trees as the last blue light drained from the sky 23 hours before the battering rams, dogs, and assault rifles recovered the building from us. Because, you know, Owl said in wonderment, I haven't seen the stars in 22 years. Because the sound of a pebble striking bamboo rings out on the other side of a door that separates her from women flooding the streets to demand bread or Attica. Because objects remain static until their vibrations break the strictures of imagination and they leap out of their isolation in sick embrace. Because after O was released from jail, the queer paid to guard the threshold of her home was confronted with only two options, because lifestyle is empire's mirage, because bare antagonisms exceed the container of identity, because the pulp behind every appearance hides in the thicket of now. Because dogma is the death of motion, because death is you breathing in and history exhaling, because matter is matter and ideas are matter, because before us, suddenly, all at once, the unknown future became real. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Listen, those are chilling to hear. I guess I have two thoughts, and one is that I agree that poetry is a dialectical form. And the other is that this year in September will mark the 50-year anniversary of the Attica prison rebellion. So that is something I think that we can all sit with all year long, all the way up to September and afterwards. Thank you so much. Our next reader is Nora Fulton. Nora, please take it away.
Hi, everyone. How's my sound?
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here. And all the work tonight has been like insanely amazing. So super grateful to be here reading with you all. I'm going to just read a few poems that I've never had the chance to read out loud before that have been scattered across the internet in various publications. So they're a little bit unlike the pieces in the anthology, which are prose pieces, but they're a bit longer. So I wanted to try something new. First piece is called I Feel Auckland. I feel Auckland. Will you return like the hover sever tends to return, or come again in time? Will your favorite trait be an extant gratitude in the blocks, or an extant gratitude in the extinct blocks? To do that, to return, you may need once more to take up that specific form of wariness that was as common as it was fashionable in your youth. Putelic wariness, wasn't it? But you were right in leaving here. I can put everything aside and admit this. If you need to do something like that to return, that taking up, if you out of all of us, if you have to do this thing among all possible things, you shouldn't come back. You shouldn't return, you shouldn't come again. And no, no one should ever, ever have asked it of you. One day I promise I will find out who did. This piece is called Cold Chain. The three of us met at the celebration. The process took much longer once, but as celebration, it slowly began to pride itself on being indistinguishable from utter defeat, and started to coo more and more at its living bridle. The first time we looked at it was the first time we looked at it together, and that circumspection, aka our tray, nay, huge red flag, used to go by the name of the bit. It was like the way in which your unpunished friends hide something in your mouth right before your punishment and tell you it will help. It went by the being together as cargo moves from bay to bay. The celebration was a task one of us called the sidereal layout. One of us called it the way we do it here. One of us called it cinder block formation. First in, last out. And we bonded over it at the back of it through a sore jaw. Last one's called Wow, thanks. Wow, thanks. For one luxurious moment, the difference in mass between a cup of blood from the armpit and a cup of blood from the ass was equal and equaled the mass of a cup of blood from the enemy. The air is here and goes. For one luxurious moment, the difference in mass between a cup of blood from the kneecap and a cup of blood from the gut was equal and equaled the mass of a cup of blood from the enemy. Then goes. For one luxurious moment, the difference in mass between a cup of blood from the earlobe and a cup of blood from the throat was equal and equaled the mass of a cup of blood from the enemy. Then goes. Thank you, everyone.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Nora, so much. I have one of Nora's books here with me, Presence Detection System. She is the author of many more books. They are all really good. So get your hands on them. Maybe you can even buy them from Another Story. To shout out once again our partner putting this meeting on. I'm just gonna drop that link once more in the chat. And finally, please welcome Trish Salah. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining us. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Hi, folks. It's so exciting to be reading with so many amazing writers and to have work in Nightboat's second amazing trans anthology and the anthology that I want everybody to be reading this year so much. And I'm going to read a couple of poems from the anthology and one or two not. I'm speaking to you from Toronto, which is the traditional land of the Mississauga of the New Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Winnett peoples. And it is protected by the Covenant of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt between the Mississauga, the Haudenosaunee, and their allies. Toronto is a site where I am an uninvited guest, subject of an occupying colonial power. So first, a couple of poems from We Want It All. Manifest. Exist it, if you can, beings that so luminesce us, alive, alive, being so. Where do they go? We aspire and abandon. Eat ourselves and shit and sleep and eat. We drag our loves. We burn out raw. We passive aggress our families that fail us, turn us out. We don't know where to go. We shelter online, and in shelters, our refuse shelter often. Look up, fallen asleep again, eyes welcome this echo. Against the redaction of being, we've grown used to. These are cuts, measure them, acceptable or what new humanity without purge and burn? What from, oops, sorry, Derek. I'm gonna go back a moment. These are cuts, measure them, acceptable or tracts and declarations. Pride is a hollow you might fit in, hide deeply. What is hidden guides more than our voices, leads through the past to what? What is hidden guides more than eyesight, to stutter, stumble at a human form, guides more than touch or hearing, more than sensible becoming, acute fixture, being only a spare measure, only rumor and glimpse. What is apparent is the ease of our death. To whom do we die? To whom wish to live? And now I will read Love Poem, which is not the poem I nearly stumbled into or stumbled partly into for a moment there. Is this spite in repetition in the signal back? Is this a longed for annihilation? Longed for? What part of envy is false consciousness or a symptom of internalized oppression? Too easy to envision violence, we do ourselves on that model. The horizon's market share capitulation as of a radical recycling already new, leavening hunger for visibility, for a healthy narcissism. Why not? Call it a solidarity of trans girls, a trauma of trans girls, a grave of trans girls. Is it respite from the relentless consumption of consumption as a topic of critique of us? Is there a dare, a bid for love, a survival equation, lust for life unburdened by fear's repetition? Is it what dusty winds kiss, dusk's hoped for chill, mercy of a novice affection? So those are poems, and These are also poems. This is called To Saint Your Lips. Kiss, saint your lips stuck to my face. I pull your hair, drunk, dowsing. Weren't they tentacles waiting for me? Finding your way to All Saints, the girl, why not begin with the dead? They like you. Convince your own self. They at least want to be your friend. Swallows are made for some others, not us. Not so hard to love like humming in cat houses. If not long gone, shyly as drowning, dreamy, too lightly winged for flight. Honestly, gosh, breathless. I'm all icy blues cut open, eyes sore from waiting around, fresh with fright. Bye-bye, birdie. And one last piece, if people can tolerate my going on. This is called Losing Narrative Moments. I thought it was about losing, so it is natural I thought it was about me. In my theory about narrative, you were there giving me a hard time, sure, but unimportant, always unimportant to what would happen next. Stealing, is there any other action besides stealing? It seems like you'd prefer something else. What else would you prefer I give you? All About the Animals is a form in which we could potentially coexist if there were feeders and a ramp up. Some mornings, a phone call on a phone hanging from a wall. I close my drapes for warmth in winter and because my mind isn't strong enough to keep them out without help. It used to be different, is my thinking. If at a certain point we put a seal on it for a set number of years, I wouldn't ask you again. But does that mean I should never ask you again? What if I never asked you before there was a seal, but merely intimated it was your desire? What if the seal affected an epistemological break? What if there are exclusive property rights to knowing, and under the terms of our agreement, some kinds of being are now excluded? We keep going to the coffee shop because we keep not buying coffee to keep in our cupboard. It is cold outside and my hands are wrinkled, wet, smelling of the dish sponge. Shortly, an alarm will go off. If you are not in bed, you will be colder all day. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Trish.
Yeah, thank you, Trish.
Oh my goodness.
I am awash in everyone's brilliance.
I love an epistemological break. And we love your work. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you to all of our participants. Thank you everyone for showing up. I think Becca, who is hosting, I think may be able to unmute people, or you can unmute yourselves and congratulate people, or say hi, or say thank you, turn on your videos, do whatever you like.
We encourage clapping and cheering for our amazing readers.
Wild screaming, taking your top off.
I've unmuted to clap, so real life clapping.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Nightboat. Thank you, Another Story.
Oh yes, I will drop. So if you are, once again, if you are north of the colonial border, you can purchase the Anthology or any other books you like, probably from anotherstory.ca, and you can have a hot pink book, all of your own. Get it while it's hot.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you, Nora.
Thank you, Nora.
Thanks everyone for reading. Love y'all.
Bye-bye.
Oh, and our next event is going to be on January 29th.
Oh yeah, and that one is in collaboration with Peach Mag.
Yay.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, fun stuff, right?
All right. Guess we leave now.
I'll say for my, thank you, Hazel, that was exquisite. I'll say for myself, I was having like a pretty bad day, and this like really changed things around. So I'm grateful.
I'm glad you're.
Me too.
I'm gonna log off now too.